What's going on, Cowboys Nation, man? Thank you for tuning in. In this brief video, man, I'm just gonna break down the disrespect that number 21 Ezekiel Elliott just keeps getting, man, year after year. Like, if you look at his production since his rookie year, since he came into the league, like it seems like every year since then, the competition for best running back, it just keep getting different nominees. Like, there was years where they were like, oh, he's not better than Todd Gurley. He's not better than Le'Veon Bell. He's not better than Dante Freeman. He's not better than McCaffrey. It's just like every year they keep adding in different nominees, man. And Ezekiel Elliott stands by itself year after year as like maybe the only player that's consistently been in the conversation. First year in the league, he had over 1,600 yards. Now, this is arguably his best produced year, and a lot of that is based on that offensive line, which was incredible. Some people will say, oh, Ezekiel Elliott fell off because his rookie year was his best year. No, that offensive line was probably the best line in maybe the last 10 years. If you look at just the names that everyone knows, and then the actual production and how healthy those offensive linemen were. And it's just not close. Like, the next person was Jordan Howard, and he had 1,300 for number 2. And then DeMarco Murray was 1,287. These guys are not in the league, let alone maybe bench guys. They're not starting. If they are in the league, Jay Ajayi, Le'Veon Bell just got cut. Shady just retired. David Johnson, like, come on, man, it's not fair. The following season, this was the year when he was suspended 6 games for stuff that other players would probably get a fine for, or a 2-game suspension. They gave this man Zeke a 6-game suspension with no evidence. But this isn't the part of the video that I want to bring attention to. It was just more about his production. So he missed, I believe, 6 games, and he still was top 10 in rushing with 983 yards. He missed 6 games and still almost had 1,000 yards. And if you look at the guys that were in the top 3, top 4, top 5, Kareem Hunt, which is still a good player to this day. Todd Gurley, most likely a free agent. Le'Veon Bell, free agent. Shady McCoy, retired. Mark Ingram, he's not really a feature back. He's more of a, he's split duty type of guy, and he's nowhere near the top when it comes to rushing yards. And then we have Jordan Howard again, Melvin Gordon, etc. So these guys, it's just every year, man, they just keep on giving Ezekiel Elliott different competition when it comes to best running backs in the league. And then the following year after that, we see Zeke with a full game with no suspensions. He's number 1 in the league with 1,434 yards. Number 2, we have Saquon Barkley, Todd Gurley, Joe Mixon, Chris Carson, McCaffrey, Derrick Henry, Adrian Peterson, Lindsey, Chubb. So it's like, now this is the year when people are, oh, Saquon Barkley's better than Zeke because he can do this and do that and catch out the backfield and he's faster and all this. But I'm not saying Saquon isn't a talent. He's definitely a talent, but this is probably his most productive year. And this was maybe 3 years ago, two years ago. And he had a good year, but it wasn't better than Zeke's as far as yards. And Zeke is year in and year out is in the top 10, top 5 when it comes to rushing yards. And then last year, this wasn't the last year. This was the year before last. He was number 4 in rushing. He had Derrick Henry at number 1, Nick Chubb, and McCaffrey above him. And he had 1,357 yards. Now, this is the year Derrick Henry went nuts when everyone proclaimed him as the best back in the league. Rightfully so. This isn't Ezekiel Elliott versus Derrick Henry. This is basically about the musical chairs when it comes to other running backs being compared to him, and he's the one that's consistently in the discussion year after year since his rookie year. So this year he was still top 5 when it comes to rushing. And then this was last year. This was the year when everyone everyone was, saying ouch, or everyone was hurt. People were it was like the first pandemic season, and a lot of people this was basically about like once Dak went out, like a lot of the fight, a lot of the swagger, the attitude, the determination, a lot of that was sucked up and threw up out of the season, because once number 4 went out, everyone gave up. And then we had both of the tackles was out. This is when Zeke is facing 9 men in the box, because who's afraid of Andy Dalton? And he still had a top 10 season. Or I think he was actually number 11 this year. But he still had 979 yards rushing, and with only 4 games from with Dak Prescott in the game. And then most of the year prior to that, he didn't have his starting tackles. I think they lost Tyron maybe like the week 3 or week 4. He was injured and out for the season, and they didn't have Layout Collins the whole year. So even when they're saying, oh, he can't do this and he needs Dak and he needs an offensive line, he still had a top 11. He was still number 11 in rushing yards, and that's without Dak, and that's with 9 in the box, and that's with offensive tackles out of the game. You know what I mean? So just imagine how much yards he would have if he just had his tackles. I'm not saying if he had Dak and the tackles, but just give him one. Give him one of the two, Dak or his tackles. He would have had at least maybe top 8, top 6, top 5. And then the pace he's on now this year, he's again top 3, top 4, top 5. So, man, listen, man, put some respect on Ezekiel Elliott's name, man, and stop downplaying his contract or using his contract to make it seem like he's a bad player or he's not producing compared to other running backs, when the first running back the first group of running backs that were one of the best in the league when he first got into the league is no longer in the league now. Todd Gurley, Le'Veon Bell, David Johnson, these guys aren't in the league, let alone one of the best in the league. So, man, that's all I really had to say, man. I'm not trying to, hold you guys for too long, man, but be grateful that you got Ezekiel Elliott, because there was teams that paid their running back money, Todd Gurley, the Rams, and they got out of that contract 2 or 3 years after they signed. Zeke is still on the team, still playing, still producing. One of the best, probably the best pass blocking running back in the game. And he's still producing at a high level, man. So thank y'all. This be grateful y'all got number 21, man. I guarantee you, ask Dak who he would rather have in the backfield with him, Zeke or another running mate, on a different NFL team, man. Thank y'all for tuning in, man. Go Cowboys, man. Peace.